It's the Jake and Ben Show. 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 Oh.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Jake and Ben Show. I'm Jake, and I'm here with Ben, and we're just gonna get right into it. And because we're gonna run a tight ship this time, looking at about half the length of usual episode, maybe 30, 45 minutes. But we got some incredible stuff.
Right.
We got some Brie Larson stuff. Let's just do it and see what happens.
Here we go. So, it's Monday, weekend's over. You know what that means? Weekend box office. So, we're going to start it off. I'm going to give you the number 5. Most people go from 1 to 5. We're going to go 5 to 1. So, 5, we got Deadpool, which came in, 7 million. Movie made a shit ton of money so far. You got Solo, came in with 9. We talked about that last week. Tag. Have you seen Tag?
No,
Are
I
you
want
interested
to
in
see
seeing
Tag. No,
Tag?
I do want to see Tag.
Yeah, it came in with 14 million, so did some bank there. Ocean's 8, second weekend came in with 19 million. Now, number 1, what we're here to talk about is Incredibles 2. Now, before I say what it made, the previous record holder was Finding Dory for the highest opening for an animated film. That made 135. Incredibles 2, 180. It's
180?
shitload of money.
180, right?
180 million.
Okay, yeah.
Opening weekend. A lot of money. It's the third highest opening of this year, behind Infinity War and Black Panther. And it is number 8 for just all-time domestic opening, I should say. So it made a lot of money. Do you have anything you want to say about this 180 million?
It's a shit ton of money, but I don't think it's that surprising. Just because, Pixar movies lately have been, they make a lot of money. People love their Pixar movies, but people have been clamoring for this sequel for 14 years or whatnot. And it's not like, it's not like Dumb and Dumber 2 where they just pulled a sequel out of nowhere. It was like people genuinely wanted this shit for so long. So you got the, previous generation or the older generation, maybe like you or I, who've been waiting for this because we saw the first Incredibles when we were kids. And then, newer kids who are seeing it for the first time because, it's a kids animated movie. So you got those two demographics going to see it. So it's not too surprising, but it's still a shit ton of money. And the way it crushed Finding Dory is impressive. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Now, I've seen the movie. You've seen the movie. Do you want to talk real quick about what you thought of it?
Yeah, sure. I'm down. Okay, I'll go first then, I guess. I saw the original Incredibles way back when. So, I think I had only seen it the one time, maybe on DVD when I was a kid. But before I saw Incredibles 2, I rented it and watched it again. And I gotta say, the original Incredibles still holds up, and it is probably the best Pixar movie, and I fucking love it. So Incredibles 2, it comes out. I think Incredibles 2 is a great movie. I think it's consistently funny enough. There's some great action sequences. There's actually some genuinely spooky stuff that I know scared some kids in my theater. The villain is kind of weak, especially when you look at the villain from the first Incredibles. It's kind of a little predictable. This movie is kind of predictable, which was a little upsetting. I don't think it quite goes as deep as the first Incredibles, but it is still definitely an enjoyable time at the movies. I love all the character interactions between one another. I think Violet is a standout in this movie. Jack is a standout, even though it's a little manipulative, but it still works. Mr. Incredible is great. And that's just general thoughts. What do you think?
Yeah, I'll say I remember seeing the first one in theaters and a few times DVD afterwards. However, I don't remember anything of the first one, and I didn't rewatch it. Going into this, I just went in. I think it is a really good film. I think it is very predictable, is what I'll say. First, I'll say I think it just looks beautiful. When you think of cinematography, I don't really think you would think animation, but it's just the style was beautiful.
Yeah.
Michael Giacchino's score, I thought it was amazing. the character interactions, as you say, I thought were really good. This isn't like a complaint, but like it's it's The Incredibles too, but it takes a while before you see The Incredibles, if if you know what I'm saying, since you've seen it. However, I don't think that takes away. I think Holly Hunter, what's her character's name again?
Elastigirl.
Yeah, Elastigirl. I think she has a lot to do in this movie, and I loved it. Now, I will say I enjoyed it. I thought it was like a really good film. I don't think it was
Incredible.
great. I think it was I don't think it was incredible, but it was almost incredible. I just thought it was very predictable, and it takes a long time to get into what's going on within the film. I think there's a gap in the second act where it's just started to lose me, and I was like, all right, when are we gonna start doing stuff? There's stuff within that's entertaining. I just didn't really felt like it got me to to the point where I really loved the movie and thought it was incredible. However, I think it's a really good film, made a lot of money, and because it's a really good film and it'll continue to make a lot of money, I think if you haven't seen it, you should go see it. If you like the first one, you should definitely check this out.
I think we're pretty much on the same page. I'd give it like a light 8 probably, or a strong 7. So I think
Yeah.
like it is a really good to great movie. I think I probably would have liked it more had I not seen the first one right before it, because the first one is so good and it set my standards so high that like when I saw the second one.
Yeah.
Sorry, you go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. For myself, I think I might have liked it a bit more if I had watched the first one, just because I don't remember much about the first one. I remember small like scenes, but not that much about the first one.
Okay, that's her. Oh, we also have to talk about, is her name Edna? Edna, right?
Edna.
Yeah, Edna and Jack almost steal the show.
Who is actually voiced by Brad Bird, the director.
Right, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But I think I don't passionately love this movie, but I would definitely go out and see it, especially if you're a fan
I
of the
would
first
recommend
Incredibles. I think it's a worthy sequel
Yeah.
for sure. Just because the characters that you know and love are consistent and they're there. Just like it just doesn't go to the depths of the first one, and it's a little predictable, but like you will still get your money's worth, and you'll still want to rewatch it in the future. It's still got that Pixar feel. So yeah, it's definitely really good. All right.
Yeah, no, I'll just reiterate that I think it's a really good film. It may seem like I'm a bit more sour on it. I thought it was a really good film. I had some problems with it, but I thought really good. Now, let's talk about something here. It's something when I had first read these comments, I got charged up. I talked to you for like, hey, would you want to talk about this on here? And at the time, I think you were charged up, and it was something Brie Larson had said. Let me get these quotes up here. Talking about just critics. And I'll get into my issue with these comments. It's just something I disagree with these comments. Do you have anything you want to say before I read the quote?
No, read the quote just so I can get a refresher, and then we'll go into it.
So Brie Larson was at this like event or like award thing, and she was talking, and one of the things she said was, "I do not need a 40-year-old white dude to tell me what didn't work for him about A Wrinkle in Time. It wasn't made for him. I want to know what it meant to women of color, biracial women, to teen women of color, to teens that are biracial." And she went on to say, more things like, it's not that I hate white people, but I think within this comment, when I first read it, I kind of got some social justice warrior stuff out of it. And let me first say is that I do love Brie Larson. I think she's a great actress, and a lot of the things she is that she supports, and issues out there, I agree. But this one I happen to disagree with because when I look at critics and reviewers, I don't look at it like in today's landscape. It's not like it was way back when we didn't have the internet. Anybody has access to put out their thoughts of a movie and review it and still have the same. Anybody can go on YouTube, and there's people on YouTube that when they review a movie, they'll get millions of reviews, and the person that's writing a review for Variety, for Entertainment Weekly, it won't get as much traction because nobody's buying the magazines and newspapers. Nobody's reading reviews in there, and still there sure are some people, but not as much as if you go on YouTube. And like if I think of like art, like a painting, and I look at it and what do I get out of it? What do I take? Do I like it? Do I not? And it's like with movies and music. I look at A Wrinkle in Time, and I'm sure, and one of the things we reviewed it way back when, and I didn't like it. I thought it was a very dull, forgettable film, and the issues I had with it weren't of women of color or anything. I thought Storm Reed was amazing in the film, and I don't think. And hey, what am I? I'm a white male, so maybe I'm talking out of my ass here. But I didn't think the film revolved around those issues. Yeah, Ava DuVernay put in some nuggets there, but I don't think the film was about struggles. Sure, you had some of the stuff there, and I look at a movie like Love, Simon here, and then I'll let you talk. As where why I bring that up is Greg Berlanti, who is a gay man, and this is about a gay kid going through school. I'm a straight male, so first of all, the movie wasn't made for me. However, it wasn't just so much about being gay. It was a love story where I can connect with the film with being a straight male. So to her comments, I think that, sure, and one of the things I even said is that if you're a kid out there, I'm sure you might love this movie. Like, when I was a kid, I seen the prequels. I thought they were awesome. Now, I think they're shit. With this movie, I think it was a bad movie. I thought it was dull and forgettable. So I think to these comments, it's not as much as like, with film, you want to, say, let's get some diversity in here, because you got, an 80-year-old white man running a studio. What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, I think there's a lot to unpack here, and it's almost like a conversation or debate that we could go on for hours. But when I first read it, I think it bothered me more than it does now. It's still something I wholeheartedly disagree with, but at least now I understand where she's coming from. And This is something we've talked about on many episodes, or at least I have, repeated myself on many similar topics. But the idea that because you're white or because you're a male, your opinion doesn't matter is very unfair to me. It's almost racist, and there's this idea that you can't be racist towards white people, which I think is completely asinine. But I get where she's coming from, in that the people she wants to hear from are the ones who are represented in the film. So I get that, but that's not what equality is. Equality is everyone's voice is equal. So you should be able to hear from a black woman or a white man, and they should carry the same weight, especially when talking about A Wrinkle in Time, because A Wrinkle in Time does not go into the struggles of being any of these gender or sexual classifications that she's laying out there. It's not about that. It's about Big Oprah and some stupid fucking green dragonfly leaf thing. It's nothing beyond that. I'm sure, like you mentioned, there's nuggets in there, and yeah, I get that. Like, but that's still not what this movie is about. Everyone's opinions on it should carry the same weight. Like, I get if to use Moonlight for example, I get where someone were to say, I want to hear from a gay black man who lives through these times more than a straight white man who fucking has no idea about any of this. I kind of get that, because Moonlight is inherently about that, and someone who's gone through that can actually pull from their own experiences and then share how accurate the movie represented them. So that makes sense more to me than A Wrinkle in Time. And it's weird that we're at a place where, when I would say, a woman of color is the lead, the movie becomes about that. Like, there is a young a female of color who's the lead, and that's why I believe she keeps doing this. And there's a lot of women across the board. But like, if you look at a movie like Annihilation, the whole cast, for the exception of Oscar Isaac, is all females. And there's white ones in there, there's black people in there, and it's just like, no one ever talks about how we only need to hear women's opinions and how white straight men don't matter, because that movie is smart in that it has women as the lead, but it's never about women as the lead. It never draws attention to it. A Wrinkle in Time doesn't really either, but it's Brie Larson who is drawing the attention to it. So like, Dude, I think I got my point across there, but
I think you got your point across better than I did now, because like again with the comments, there's a lot to like go into, and even like a tweet here from Brie Larson says top critics on Rotten Tomatoes are overwhelmingly white and male. The newest report from Inclusionist USC shows vast underrepresentation in diverse voices. Hashtag inclusion crisis. Now, like the thing with, and even there was another, comment of saying, pointing out Rotten Tomatoes as like a, just like this group, that, they're putting out bad reviews or whatnot. And even, I think Disney last year came out about Pirates of the Caribbean, why it didn't make so much money because it got bad reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, and I think there's even this also misconception of what Rotten Tomatoes is. It's just an algorithm of people putting their reviews on there, and if they're positive or not, that's what equals the score. Now, like, you can look at reviews so many different ways. You can look at it as a breakdown of art, and you can look at it if you're an average just moviegoer of, hey, should I go see this movie because it's good or not? Should I go spend my $15, $16 to go see A Wrinkle in Time or Annihilation or a Black Panther? Should I go spend it on that, or should I go spend it on, a Deadpool? What should I go see? So they'll look at reviews, say, what's, getting more buzz, talk to people. And to me, I just wouldn't. I look at them as, recommendations. And I know some people look at reviews as, a breakdown of art. To me, I thought A Wrinkle in Time just wasn't worth the money. It's something you can wait for if it comes out on Netflix. Yeah. I can understand, hey, let's get more voices within the community. But one of the things that I think is within this is that you can, and again, who am I to say this, but I feel that we're in a place now where you can empower yourself to do these reviews, whether it's on a YouTube, a blog, is that nobody depends on like a variety anymore, because we live in a time with the internet, social media, so there's other venues to go out there without having, somebody hire you. And like even what we're doing, it's us doing this, so we can put ourselves out there. Maybe one day it will be a hit, maybe it won't. So that's why I feel it's a different conversation than saying, hey, we should get more female directors, or more female leads, or people of color in film than like in reviewing. If you get what I'm saying. Hopefully, I brought that in.
Yeah, a couple things there. I think you and I are seeing eye to eye on it, but we're slightly off, and not in a bad way. There's kind of two demographics in this movie sphere that we're in that watch movies. There's ones like, I think you, and I think your example made this clear, you want to just, you don't care so much about what this movie is saying politically. You just want to get your money's worth and see a movie that you can remember, that you can talk about with your friends, and that's going to move you emotionally, and that it's there. I believe that's what you want out of your movie experience. And there's also other people that they maybe they study film a little deeper, and they want to know politically what is this movie saying, and how does it further social statuses in the world today. So there's a bit of that, and I get both angles, and I get film as this political art form, whether the director wants to push an agenda, not necessarily in a bad way, but push an agenda in one way or the other, and I get that. I get both angles, but I think it's still important not to lose sight that true equality is just everyone's voice is equal. That's what it means. I think that's important. Like, let me just, for example, Brie Larson says she doesn't want to hear a white man's opinion of A Wrinkle in Time because the lead is not a white man or whatnot. If I saw Captain America: The Winter Soldier, I mean, that's a relevant movie still, right? Okay, if I saw The Winter Soldier, the lead is a white male, and imagine I'm reading a review from a black woman, and I say, I don't want to hear what this black woman has to say. I want to hear what this white man has to say. The movie, well, that's ridiculous. I get where people who say they don't want to hear what a white man have to say are coming from. I get it, because that's kind of, we're moving towards equality, because there is still a lack of representation in the world. I get that. There definitely is. There is still a racism alive and well. So I get that. However, I think it is overstepping what you're trying to do. I think you're trying to move towards equality, but you're going past it and putting down others who have it, quote unquote, better in the past and now, and putting them down to lift you up. I think you're just too extreme, and I get it because you want that change quick. But I think it has to be a gradual change. I don't think we can get it overnight. I don't think it's fuck white people. Let's hear all these minorities roar and fuck everyone else. I get that. I totally get that mentality. But I think it's got to be more nuanced than that. I think it has to be just like, chill out. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear what you have to say. And that's it. When I see Captain America, I don't want to just hear white men because white men is the lead. When I see A Wrinkle in Time, I don't want to just hear what black women have to say because black women are the lead. I want to hear what everyone has to say because, you know, people will watch this movie from a different angle. They will see it as entertainment. And I want to see what they have to say. People might find a more political angle, and I want to see what they have to say because they're all valid, and everyone's voice is valid or everyone's voice is crap. It's not like people have... it's not like someone's opinion is more important than someone else's, and someone should be able to speak and no one else should be able to. Of course, saying that, a little disclaimer, talked about before, there is a level of nuance to it where, you know, we talk about Moonlight, we talk about that kind of thing. Love, Simon, you mentioned, where there are films that like people are able to project themselves onto and say how accurate it is that others won't be able to. There is that. Doesn't change the fact that I'm still curious what everyone has to say because they can take different things out of the film, you know. And even if a straight man watches Love, Simon, a lot of it is just about, you know, love in general, regardless of what gender you're loving. So there's like straight people can take that from it. It's not inherently about being gay, even though gay people can appreciate and have a new angle to it and say more things, you know, specifically about that experience. So I think I've covered this as best I could by being, you know, as eccentric as I could, because I find that I am a lot of times politically in these situations. I find myself just like, both sides, stop yelling at each other. We can all be okay. Just relax.
Exactly. And that's why I say, like, I disagree with the comments. I'm not saying, oh, Brie Larson, what the fuck, you know, you're wrong. No, what the fuck do I know? I'm just saying I disagree. It's, you know, my opinion. Where I, like, in my final thoughts on this, I guess where I come down on it also is that, yeah, you know, let's hear more voices. But to me, this is myself. You know, you guys can look at reviews however you want. And I don't even know exactly how you look at written reviews or just, you know, just, you know, breakdowns of films. Is that I don't give a shit what somebody on Variety wrote, and I'm not just calling out Variety, just calling out whether it's Entertainment Weekly, you know, name all, you know, magazines, whatever, New York Times. I don't care, even if it's one person reviewing a film. I just don't care if their breakdown analysis of the film. I like if, you know, you get like, you know, whether it's us, and it's just, and I'm not even, when I'm saying this, it doesn't have to just be reviewers, just anybody you're talking, you're shooting the shit with, you know, your friends. Us talking here, you know, if you watch, you know, let's say Collider, if you watch their reviews, is you'll get a group of people just talking about a film, what it meant to them, what they take out of it, and, you know, did they enjoy it, did they not, what did they like, what didn't they? I like that than more, you know, just one person writing down a review. Like, I mean, I've mentioned a bunch of reviews that I've read that I think like, wow, that was really, you know, that sounds ridiculous. And I guess even playing what Brie Larson said, I've read reviews of, you know, let's say take a Black Panther, and, you know, you see some shitty, you know, things, racist things written about there. But, I mean, to me, you know, everybody's got an opinion. They're entitled to it. I disagree with the comments. However, I'm just somebody who doesn't give a shit about reviews. You know, I like to hear what anybody thinks regardless, whether you're a critic or you're just some guy off the street or a woman off the street. Whether you're a dog off the street, I don't care. Could be an alien. Could be from 50 different planets away. Let's talk. I don't care. So, yeah, that's where I come down.
Yeah, I'm curious. You know, you mentioned this. I'm curious to see what others have to say about what Brie Larson has to say and about what we have to say. So if you're listening to this, please, because I know one of our other political episodes, closer to the beginning, stirred up some controversy, which I like. I like having you know, people chime in with their, you know, their thoughts and opinions. So if you're listening, you know, we want to hear what you have to say. I totally get where you're coming from, Ben, when you talk about like you like hearing groups of people interact talking about the movie what rather than like some dissection that it's written by one person. And I get that, and I think that totally goes into what I was saying before about the two sides. And I find I appreciate both sides, but
yeah, and in today's time, we all need to talk more and discuss more than saying, no, you're wrong, and I'm going to tell you why you're wrong.
Yeah.
However, we talked a good amount, with that. Now let's move on to something that I think will be a more of a fun discussion here, and it's talking about DC movie news. And when you say that, usually it's not fun, but I think maybe we're getting somewhere here. Now, a few months ago, it was said Walter Hamada came on to kind of run what's going on with DC. Now, who the hell is Walter Hamada? He is the producer behind the whole Annabelle movies, It, Lights Out, The Conjuring. He's worked with James Wan a lot. Now, he was hired on a few months ago, and you always hear him with Warner Brothers hiring people for executive spots, and then like a week ago comes out Jeff Johns is leaving his executive position at DC, and he's gonna write a Green Lantern Corps movie, and then he's gonna write some other movies. So now he's he has more of a role of writing, being an executive. Now, one of the things that came out with Walter Hamada was somebody an inside source said that it was a shit show when he came in. Now, there was also breakdowns of what he's doing there, which gets me excited, is that before Warner Brothers and DC would come out and they would just put out a slate, we're going to do this movie, and that movie, without having a script, director. They're just coming out and saying, we're doing this. And each year, like Comic-Con, they say they're going to do something, hasn't happened. So what they're saying is, Walter Hamada said, let's hit the brakes, let's stop. I'm going to read all the scripts that's out there. We're going to get directors, and we're not going to announce anything until we have a script, until we're ready to go. To me, I think that's the direction you need. Yeah, you need a script. You're going to need people, directors, and then let's announce it instead of announcing a movie with nothing behind it. With that also is you hear these Joker movies. There's been talk about Joker movies of Martin Scorsese produced, whether he's still doing that, Todd Phillips directing, and Joaquin Phoenix to star. Now, apparently that movie is going to have a budget of $50 million, and is going to shoot by the end of the year, around September, October-ish. So, that's coming up, which, again, good idea. If you're giving it a smaller budget, don't give it something crazy. Apparently the Jared Leto standalone Joker movie is going to happen. However, another thing that came out about this, and then I'll get some comments from you before I say any more DC stuff, is that the standalone, the Joker Joaquin Phoenix movie will be under a new label. Now, this is confirmed. It was just, rumors from inside sources that the new label will either be DC Dark or DC Black for these standalone movies. You hear this stuff. Does this get you excited hearing what Walter Hamada's game plan is?
Yeah, I've always thought the DC announcements have been a little ridiculous, where they don't always happen, they don't usually happen, and there's always shit shuffling around. So it's good to hear that it's just stop it. We're just not going to say anything, because I'm hearing about this news right now for the first time through you. So I like that approach to it, but I think what I'm even more excited about is this DC Black or whatever it's called thing, because I want superhero movies that aren't a part of something bigger. I like a standalone Joker film where it's the standalone Joker film where in 50 years you can watch it without watching anything else and be like, damn, that's mint. So I like the sound of that a lot. I hope they do that. I hope not everything is under this DC universe. And Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker sounds fucking perfect. So, I don't care that Martin Scorsese is producing. It means nothing. Well, it could mean everything. It could mean nothing, but I just assume it means nothing. I don't put too much stock into the producer role until, maybe I know what exactly they did, because Spielberg, he's producing all the Transformers movies. So just an example of it. It means nothing, really. Todd Phillips directing, it's kind of cool. But Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker, sick, and I'm so excited for that. So I think this new direction for DC is a good direction. I think that's all.
Well, there's still a few more things here. There's
Okay,
a
let's hear
lot
it. Let's hear
that
it.
came out with DC, and even to mention, so a while back, AT&T, they were to acquire Warner Brothers. Now, for political reasons, people tried to stop that from happening, and a judge approved the deal. So now AT&T is going to acquire Warner Brothers. What that means for this, who knows? I don't think it will affect this as much. Which even going into another conversation for another time. Because of that, now Comcast has entered the bidding for Fox, but that's a different subject. Now, Matt Reeves' Batman. It said that he handed in the first act of his script to get some feedback, and that it would be a much younger Batman. Also, a thing that came up with also in the Jeff Johns report was that, hey, guess what? It's going to be a young Batman. Forget about Ben Affleck. That ain't happening. And then I don't want to throw this in here too much because I've only heard this from one place, and the one place I heard it from, maybe you did also, is that it was the same person who originally said Ben Affleck wasn't going to be the Batman in Matt Reeves' movie. Says that, hey, I heard something that there were also discussions being had with Ben Affleck and DC because there's new heads, Walter Hamada running it now, that they were having discussions. Now, I bring up this DC Dark, DC Black label. What if Matt Reeves' Batman isn't within the DCEU? What if... And hey, this is not saying it's going to happen. This is just speculation now. Now we get to speculate instead of, things being thrown at us that aren't happening. Maybe Ben Affleck stays in the DCEU. We never know. I think that would be interesting, especially having this DC Black or Dark, whatever they're going to call it. You have these opportunities to do these standalones, or even if you want to do a Batman trilogy. Now, that's just side piece. What we got is some Aquaman news. I'm not sure if you had seen, but Entertainment Weekly, they had an Aquaman issue. So there's 2 covers and a bunch of pictures from the Aquaman movie. A few that just, okay, are cool. A few stunning photos, I'd say stills. And James Wan came out and said, hey, trailer's going to drop San Diego Comic-Con, so that's coming up this July. And Wonder Woman 2 started its production. There was a photo out of Gal Gadot suited up as Wonder Woman. And then also, there was a photo, and, this was all put out by Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot, of, Chris Pine. Chris Pine. Him, yeah, he's in the film. It's Wonder Woman 1984. And you would think, wait a minute, shouldn't that man be in his 60s? But hey, still looks like a young man, very young, handsome man, and he's there. How do you feel about this stuff? This stuff is like, I'm more excited, but to me, out of all of what I've said, the thing that gets me most excited is just Walter Hamada's direction. Yeah. Oh, and hey, you know what I should also add in there? The Flash, the movie, the standalone Flash movie from the directors of Game Night, that is on pace to shoot in the beginning of 2019.
That'd be sweet. Game Night. Oh, I love Game Night. All right. Wonder Woman 2? Great news. Of course, Wonder Woman's great, so it's good that they're getting another one. Chris Pine back is unique, whether it's in flashback maybe, because he's not an old man, and
he is that if you see the photo, he is in a mall, and it looks like the 80s.
Really? Okay, yeah. I didn't see the photo. I just heard of it. I heard of the news, but okay, yeah. I honestly, I don't know. It's a world full of gods, so I don't know if they brought him back to life or what's going on. I almost don't even want to begin to speculate right now because it's bizarre, but I'm curious to see how they do it. I'm excited as fuck for Aquaman because I love James Wan, so that's awesome that a trailer is just around the corner. And the Batman idea, I think it'd be cool if Matt Reeves did a trilogy outside of the DC universe. Because, I just think about the Dark Knight trilogy, and I want something that's similar. Yeah. But, obviously not the same, but yeah, keep going.
Yeah, not to cut you off, but it also eliminates, okay, this is a universe, now we have a younger Batman. Did this take place in the past? There were rumors, more rumors, of the Penguin potentially being the main villain. And if he's not in there, he might be in Birds of Prey, because they got a few scripts, and
Penguin being the main villain would be sweet.
I think it would be, but then also you run into and it's not even a run in, just Justice League. And Alfred says, hey, what about the times when, our biggest issue is, exploding wind-up penguins. To me, it's not like a big headache if you have this Batman movie in the universe, but I don't want to see the Flash movie be like, all right, let's do Flashpoint. Whoa, the time's reset now. Whoa, all of a sudden there's a younger Batman. It's convenient. I hope that's not the way, but I would like it to be, separate.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, if they do that Flashpoint thing and just reset it, it's kind of cheap, but like, yeah, whatever. I'll it's fine. I get it. But I would prefer separate. I think a younger Batman sounds good. I like Ben Affleck as Batman. I don't think he's probably ever gonna come. I don't think he's gonna do another movie. That's just my guess. I think he's done. But yeah, Batman by Matt Reeves sounds really intriguing. Aquaman by James Wan sounds amazing, and that's right around the corner. Wonder Woman 2 with Chris Pine back is bizarre, but we'll see what happens. Flash by the Game Night directors sounds great. I just hope, we don't get like another Suicide Squad or another Justice League. But
and even speaking of Suicide Squad, that's also coming up too. Suicide Squad 2. They hired some guys to rework the script. They got Gavin O'Connor, I believe, to direct. The guy who directed The Accountant. I believe it's Gavin O'Connor. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on, and I do think if they stick with this leadership with Walter Hamada and just with the mindset of let's get a script, let's nail it, let's get some directors, and then we're going to announce a film. Let's plan it out. If they can do that, I think, the DCEU, DC Black, DC Dark, you got a bright future. Yeah. And I want that. I want that.
Me too.
Now, you want to talk about the last thing here?
All right, we're going.
Let me pull up these.
We're going over 35 minutes or whatever.
This right here, I have quick thoughts, and I'll just keep it there. So George Lucas, he had an interview with James Cameron, and he talked about his plans for the sequel trilogy if he had kept Lucasfilm. Now, there's quotes in here of Lucas and Cameron. I'll just read you Lucas's quotes in here. There's about 4 of them. So, starts off, everyone hated it when we started talking about midichlorians and the Phantom Menace. A whole aspect of this film is about symbiotic relationships. It's about recognizing that we're not the boss, and there's a whole ecosystem there. Goes on to say, the next 3 Star Wars films, we're going to get into microbiotic world, but there's this world of creatures that operate differently than we do. I call them the Wills, and the Wills are the ones who actually control the universe. They feed off the Force. Goes on to say, back then I used to say it means we're just the cars, the vehicles of the Wills they're traveling around with. We are the vessels of Wills, and the connection is via the midichlorians. The midichlorians are the ones who communicate with the Wills. The Wills, in general sense, are the Force. Also goes on to say, I worked this whole concept with the Force, the Jedi, and everything from beginning to end. I just never had the chance to finish it all, to tell people about it. And then this final quote here, if I had held on to the company, I could have done it, and then it would have been done. Of course, a lot of fans would have hated it, just like they hated the Phantom Menace and everything, but at least the whole story from beginning and end would have been told. You hear George's plans for the sequel trilogy. Would you have wanted to see this?
No, I think it's dumb. And I also think it's irrelevant because, he can say whatever he wants, and it means nothing at this point. I think it sounds stupid. Maybe in its own like weird spin-off sci-fi universe, it could be a cool movie or a cool handful of movies, but it doesn't feel like Star Wars, and it just fucking sounds loony, so I don't care. What do you think?
Yeah. I'm happy he sold the company.
Yeah.
I'm happy with the movies we've gotten. I'll say this, hearing this idea, if I'm in a pitch meeting and Lucas is, knocked the head and he can, not do whatever he wants, I'm saying, what the hell is this? At the same time, that's what people said about the original Star Wars.
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
I think of like small, like in the Clone Wars, some wacky stuff he wanted to do with the animated series Clone Wars that they did. It sounds wacky, but it was executed well. Rebels, World Between Worlds. You say, hey, there's an element of time travel within here. I'm going to say, what the fuck are you talking about? Star Wars? It was executed well. Now, hearing this, I think again, this is just quick quotes he put out there. But from what he's saying, I feel like, for one, I don't think we need to go into that. And does this take away the individuality of these? Like, did Vader have his redemption because he's a person? Did Luke want to redeem his father because he's a person, or because the Wills are saying, hey, let's go do this? It does.
Yeah,
it doesn't
no,
sound.
yeah,
It sounds
like it would ruin
Prometheus,
everything.
like and ruin everything. It's like you're taking. Like, we have these characters we love, but now you're taking away what we love about these characters because they're not even.
It's the Wills, man. It's the Wills.
Yeah. So, hey, you know what? The guy's got balls if he wanted to tell that story, because he even says, hey, they would have hated it like they hated the Phantom Menace.
Yeah, I like
doubling
that.
down on
That's a good line.
midichlorians.
Yeah.
So and hey, even there, we live in a time when everybody wants to say, you're wrong, I'm right, and you're an idiot for this, you're an idiot for that. I think we're in a toxic time in a Star Wars fan base more than ever, but I feel it's there's always been, like he says, people that would have hated something. They hated the prequels, and hey, I disliked them too, but there's been a track record for Star Wars fans being very passionate about Star Wars, and maybe one day we'll get more into the whole, toxic fan base, but I know a lot of people dislike the character Rose, and, there's people that dislike The Last Jedi, and even this line they hate. However, I think this line within this time is relevant of what Rose says to Finn, is we're not going to win by fighting what we hate. We're going to win by saving what we love. And I think if you're a Star Wars fan who happens to not like the decisions, you're not going to save it by hatred, by, bullying Kelly Marie Tran, or just fans that, enjoy stuff or don't. You got to approach it with, hey, I love this product. I'm not going to hate you for liking this, but I expect it better. I look at a community like the Star Wars Battlefront 2 community. There's some crazy people in there, but with being in the community of being disappointed with the game, a lot of people behind it that were disappointed just went, said to the developers, yeah, some people said it really harshly, but hey, we expected better from this game. You promised us a game that you are not delivering. Give us what we paid for and what we want from this. And they've been trying to, make things right. And, if you're a Battlefront 2 fan, I mean, they did a lot of what people have been asking for. And I just think, in dark times, you need hope. So those are my final thoughts.
Beautiful way to end it. And I'm not going to say anything. I'll let you have the final word. That was perfect. And I'm also cutting it short because I'm scared someone's going to buzz the apartment. And when they do that, the internet's going to get shut off. So I don't want to get cut off halfway. So I agree with what you're saying. I'm happy you used Rose's quote in their favor. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, we said it all for today. We'll be back next week. Yeah. And if you want to tell the good people where they can find us. And hey, we talked about some stuff that may be controversial. If you disagree or agree, let us know why.
Please. All right. Please do. Jake and Ben Show on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube. You may be listening to on YouTube right now. I got to put up last week's episode on YouTube. I kind of slack on uploading it to YouTube because it's just such a pain to export the video. Oh, no, I did upload last week. It's so convenient to just plop it on Google Play and iTunes like that. So usually the YouTube shit comes up a day later, maybe.
I don't want to cut you off. Yeah. However, I forgot about something. If, Marvel fans out there or fans of movies, Ant-Man and the Wasp tickets go on sale today.
Oh, do they really?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
I'm going to see that. Oh, also, when does Jurassic World come out?
Next week. Oh, this week.
This week?
Today's Monday. This week.
So Thursday will be the first day I could see it?
Yes.
I'm going to use my Cinemia and see it.
To give an update on that, I actually, I am with Cinemia now.
Oh, really?
But you know what? Yeah, that I'll end it there because we hit our 40-minute mark.
All right, yeah. I'm gonna text you. We're gonna talk about that. I gotta get off Skype though, just in case they kick us off. She might be coming sooner than one, but yeah. Anyways, Jake and Ben Show. Here we are. Rate us on iTunes. That'd be cool. Let us know what you think. Give us some thoughts. Give us some things we can comment on. Yeah, all good. Is everything you wanted to say, Ben?
Bye for now.